All right, all right. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Did anybody make a new friend? Did anybody reconnect with an old friend? Cool. Hey, let's do this. Let's hear from a handful of us about intentions, either your own that emerged in responding to this question, or is there anything that you were inspired by that you heard from someone else in their response? Highest intention for self, others, or the world. Anyone want to kick us off? Either your physical hand or your digital blue hand. Robert, go right ahead. And good to see you, buddy.
Thank you. One of the metaphors that came up was just the evolution. For some reason, I've always thought of exchange as uh, a life-giving evolutionary force that's pulling together a lot of other movements and a lot of other really important work. And I think when Dr. Danny and Dr. Dan entered into the exchange community, it was the birthing of, it was an evolutionary form of this new organism evolving. And so my intention for this is to just steward the evolution of Dr. Danny's work into the exchange community, the conscious capitalism movement, all of the things that are happening, because we don't know yet what is going to come or what's going to evolve, but we all have a sense that it's critically important to the world at this point in time for it to get out. And so those of us on the leadership team and those of us that will be attending the event will be stewarding the evolution of whatever that is meant to be.
Robert, thank you for sharing that. That's a beautiful reflection. This is an ever evolving, it's an ever evolving living organism, as a community, as an approach. And I love that, Robert. That's a beautiful reflection. Who'd like to go next? Anything that comes up for you or that you were inspired by around intentions for the week?
I'll share something that
Rachel, please.
that came up. A couple things that came up. One, as I was looking on my wall, we were just starting to, open up this conversation. I have this sign of "without change, there would be no butterflies." And I think of sometimes the process of change is not necessarily welcomed or not necessarily expected or wanted. And even still, the butterfly can still emerge and there still can be beauty on the other side of it. So my intention when I think about it personally is just the freedom from self-doubt. I was even mired in it this morning, and I channeled Dr. Danny and thought resources, 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 resources. And I pulled out my phone and I called a friend. And to have more people have that to be the go-to, have that be the default of how do I resource myself? How do I resource myself? And that we can recognize that self-doubt is really the voice of you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough. And that's what holds us back. And this, if anything, has been an exploration, and not what Dr. Danny shares and what his family is sharing has been an invitation to not hold back, and has been an invitation to be alive, to live without regret, and to live with boldness, and to not take a single moment for granted. And the more people that can live from that place and that intention, I mean, that's the kind of world that I want to be a part of. And that's what this has the ability to be a catalyst to awaken.
Rachel, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. With no change, there are no butterflies. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Who else would love to share any intentions that came up for you or from others that you're inspired by? By the way, while any of you are gathering the energy to go next, I want to just give an acknowledgement that this leadership team is made up of two groups. Number one, it's made up of members of our inner circle, which many of you represent that group, and it's one of our most committed and invested subgroups within the broader exchange community. So Dion, Rachel, Barbara, Linda, Monica, Leah, Robert, Ezra, Dan, and Mitzi. Those of us in the inner circle, just for clarification or awareness, Dr. Danny has led us through a several month version of the deep dive that everyone's going to go through in 2.5 days this week. And it's been an incredible experience. And there's several of you that we reached out. There were either private conversations or invitations, and who were divinely guided to end up on this leadership team. I won't even claim that I know all the ways that some of you got onto this leadership team, but there was a message we sent to some of our faculty that said, "Hey, if there are others that we think would round out this team in a beautiful way." So Les and Gina and Allison, it is an honor to have you here, merging together with a group that's been on a journey together this year. So really, really great to have all of you brought together here. Love to hear maybe another intention or two or three that any of you have, or maybe we're going to hear from all of you. So Barbara, go right ahead, please.
Yeah, my highest hope and intention for myself, this community, and everyone is to be part of an evolution of how we're approaching a new era of leading people, and that we are all tapping into ourselves more, and just the realization that how important it is the way we show up for ourselves and for everyone around us. And what we're seeing with Dr. Danny, it's especially important in high stakes situations, whether that be a business meeting, whether that be an important family situation. And we just, it's about time that we connect with each other in a different way, and that we are approaching leadership in a different way as well. I just realized that leadership is required in every single moment of our lives. And we better not leave it up to chance how it all turns out.
Barbara, oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that wonderful intention. Dan Diamond, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, one of the greatest things that's happened to me in my life has been my relationship with Danny, and feeling connected at the heart and at the head. So I am a more compassionate human being and significantly smarter than I used to be because I've spent time with him. And I know that the world is hurting right now and needs more of that. And so my prime goal in wanting to be part of this is to support and hold my brother. And then my second goal is I want more people to get to experience what I got to experience getting to know him, and both at a heart level and at the head, because I think this is important, and now is the time for this. So, yeah, you're a blessing to me, my brother.
Yeah. I just want to thank, I'd love to acknowledge you, Dan Diamond. There are many of you on this call that don't really know the story of how we as a community met Dr. Danny Friedland. And last year, about a week before our last week-long in-person immersion that we had before COVID got here, Dr. Dan Diamond was enrolled to attend. Dan Diamond, you'd heard about our work through, I think, Michelle McQuaid, maybe.
Yeah.
And Dan Diamond, you sent us an email on the Thursday before our 5-day immersion. Now, what some of you might not realize is that our immersion, we shut off registration like a month before because we embroider people's names on the chairs they sit on. It almost feels like that. It's so custom dialed in. I mean, it's like there's all these materials, and we have these posters made for every attendee. Like, it's a very intimate, custom expression of every person that's going to be there. So weeks before, we shut down registration because every person walks in to an experience where their name and their photograph is honored in multiple ways, from where they're going to sit and who they're going to sit with for dinner and how we match those up. I mean, there's layer upon layer of thought that we take weeks to figure out. Well,
Danny's name used to be John, and then we changed it to Danny so he could use my stuff with the embroiders on it. Did that make any sense? You said to unmute myself. It's your fault.
Well, everyone else can unmute as well. You know, I just got a sign that says my internet connection is unstable. Just so everybody knows, we got a note basically 3-4 days before our training from Dan Diamond that said, hey, you ought to let this guy, Danny Friedland, show up. And so our team huddled and we said, well, we don't know who Danny Friedland is. Frankly, we don't even know who Dan Diamond is. Who is this guy that we don't know saying you should add another Dr. Dan? And we spent about 2 minutes deliberating and said, all right, let's just let it happen. Let's see, we broke our own rule. And that was how we met Danny Friedland. When the two of them walked in together, sat next to each other, front row, I remember just minutes into the first day thinking, I love both these Dans, and I'm glad we broke our rule. So I love it when the field overrides our intellect. That's how we met both Dans. Thanks for letting me share that little story, everybody. Awesome. Who would like to go next in expressing or sharing any intention? Dion, please go right ahead.
Hi, Danny. A year ago, October, I was there and I was blessed enough to enjoy a beautiful dinner in this Italian restaurant that we closed down late one night with Danny and Dan. And so I've been doing a little bit of work for a little while with this book, and it's been beyond transformative. And then when we started with your whole program, Danny, with the training these last couple months, I didn't know I needed more. And just like, this is just a journey. It's a journey. There's always more. And I came across this quote this week that is so appropriate. It's by Thomas Edison, and I think he invented the light bulb or something like that. When you have exhausted all possibilities, remember this: you haven't. And I found this before I got the news that you were unwell, Danny. And there's always more to learn. There's always more for me to grow, for me to give, and for the ripple effect. And I love that you have a wave behind you, because we are part of the, Danny's the making the splash in the water, and then we are all the waves and sending it out to more and more waves. And it's an incredible ripple effect. So thank you.
Dion. Thank you, Dion. Awesome. Who'd like to go next? Mitzi, go right ahead.
So, Dr. Danny, I have been binge watching your YouTube channel, and there was a moment where you guys say it quite a bit, but we are Friedlands, and I have been saying that to myself. I am a Friedland. This experience has made me a part of you, and I just feel so called to be a little ripple like Dion shared, because I'm a Friedland too. So I just thought I would share that with you and with the whole team.
Mitzi, I'd like to invite everyone to unmute, and on the count of 3, I am a Friedland. Is everybody ready? Unmute. If you're not unmuted, you've got to figure that out by tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. All right, on the count of 3, I am a Friedland. Is everybody ready? All right, 1, 2, 3.
I am a Friedland.
Thank you for that, Mitzi. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
So good. Can I say something really quick?
Look at the light on Leah. Everyone look at Leah for a second.
Yes.
Wow. Woo! That's the field.
Oh, that's the field. Oh my God. I feel
That's
so
awesome.
blessed. Oh.
That's the love light.
By the way, I've always looked at Exchange as being my family. I've always looked at Exchange being my family. And, the blessing of you taking my name is like my extended family. And I also want to say, in the field, we can literally take each of each other's name. I mean, the word namaste is the God in me honors the God in you. So I could just as easily say in this moment, I am family Rivas, right? I could just as easily say that. And so when other people hear that, I welcome them into Team Friedland, but I also welcome you all to see each other as part of a global family. This is not about me. It's about us deeply connecting with every person we meet. So that anytime you meet somebody, I encourage you to take their last name. Imagine if we did that wherever we went, what this world would look like, to know that we're all deeply connected as a global family, So thank you for starting that as a rally cry. And I want you to know how far that rally cry will go if people take it beyond becoming a Friedland, but becoming a global citizen connected to everybody that they meet because they're willing to take anybody's last name.
Let's try that on the count of 3. Everybody say I am, and then just declare your own last name or whoever the hell you'd like to be.
Yeah.
Everybody
Okay.
ready? On 3, ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
I
am
I am a global citizen. Oh, it's such a glorious unfolding. Oh my God, this is clearly evidence. This is clearly evidence that ultimately one of the earlier in the series, in the channel, I spoke about Chip Connolly, who's extraordinary as well. As I shared about Chip Connolly, Chip Connolly was the global head of strategy for Airbnb. And he now has, from his learning, he now has the Modern Elder Academy down in Baja, Mexico. And it's an extraordinary place where it's very much, it has a spiritual resonance with what we're doing in Exchange. And I was invited to go down there with him and partner with him on a week-long retreat. Around leading well from within, that merged my work with his work, which is extraordinary, which is the Modern Elder Academy. He wrote a book, kind of Wisdom at Work. And the heart of the program was a talking circle. And Chip set up the talking circle by speaking about 3 vaults. And the first vault is the safest vault of all. It's where we get together in groups and we just talk about the facts of our life. So what is our role? Where did we come from? Which school do we go to? That's the safest vault of all. The second vault is a bit deep. Well, it's deeper. It's where we tell the stories of how we make meaning of our lives. And we do some of that in the Exchange community. I don't think that's the most sacred part of it. I think what we're witnessing is what Chip calls the third vault. The third vault is the deepest of all. It's speaking from essence. It literally is speaking from the field itself. And that's the power of this energetic resonance that I feel we hold. In fact, the instruction in the talking circle is do not prepare until the talking stick lands in your lap, and then only speak about what moves through you. That's the powerful thing. And I think what everybody, I sense, is getting, and what the Exchange community and approach unlocks, is the ability to speak from essence. And that creates flourishing in the world. And this is the realm from which poetry emerges. So when you're looking over here, I also spoke about, I shared, and I keep dropping this. There's this extraordinary video on YouTube about Van Gogh. I mean, it's had such an impact on me. It's just a 3-minute video. And I think I'm going to drop it into our WhatsApp channel. I'm going to drop this video in and you'll see. And Van Gogh, he gets dropped in Doctor Who, you know, it's a BBC. He gets dropped in from the past into the present. So into the present, outside the Musée d'Orsay. And he walks with his friends up into the room, through the gallery, and he enters the space in which he is now exhibited. And he watches everybody vibrantly looking at his legacy. And he stands in amazement. He stands in amazement of what's happening because his legacy so far outstripped what he imagined it was going to be. And then his friend went up to the curator and purposefully brought him into earshot of Van Gogh and asked the question, who is the greatest living, where does Van Gogh rank in the history of artists? And he said, and this is very stiff and kind of a curator. He said, well, that's a large question. That's a big question. And then he kind of leans in and he says, well, frankly, I'd say Van Gogh is undoubtedly the greatest of them all. And then he says, what sets him apart is that he had the capacity, he was roaming in the fields in such pain and suffering. Think about all the suffering that's going on in the world right now. Such pain and suffering. And yet he was able to create extraordinary beauty of that pain. Extraordinary beauty. And then he said, because of that, he doesn't only rank as the greatest artist of our time, but possibly the greatest human being that ever lived. So when we speak from the field of essence, even in the midst of the greatest suffering of all, we have the capacity to create an alchemy of suffering into glorious beauty. And that's what we're witnessing here right now. We're witnessing the capacity of the exchange approach. There are other approaches that can do this as well. But exchange approach is one of the approaches that has the capacity to create sufficient psychological safety, and connectivity at all levels. First, connectivity in the field, connectivity more deeply to ourselves, connectivity to each other, where we can create extraordinary beauty that supports flourishing in the world. And I'm mindful that John and I both have sunflowers in our picture. And there's beauty to sunflowers, right? It's an expression of wholeness. Because if you notice over here, the center of the book is a fractal. It's a fractal. Essentially what we're doing when you look at beauty, beauty is remembering the essential wholeness we already are. All of us were born whole and complete. It's the ability to actually come back to a reminder. It's not about becoming whole. This arc of conscious leadership is first leading well with inside yourself. It's remembering the essential wholeness you are, because we're born out of the field, which is whole and complete. And we're serving to remind others when we facilitate in groups and we love on them and create psychological safety and we love on them, we're offering them a reminder of the essential wholeness they are, so they can channel this deepest essence of wisdom that channels through, so they can experience beautiful, glorious beauty in the world and be a part of flourishing in the world. And the purpose of life is to live a life being fully alive, to being fully alive, and to be an agent of flourishing that inspires others to flourish in the world. And what the exchange community over here does is it provides an operating system. It provides an operating system for flourishing in the world.
Danny, I'd like to pick up on what you just shared. Thank you. And before we shift gears to talk about the relationship between exchange and conscious leadership, which is something I want to make sure everybody gets to see, I want to ask, is there anyone else who'd like to express their intention for the week? We got to about half of you. It'd be cool to hear a few more voices of intentions for the week. Either Linda or Allison or Gina. Forgive me if you shared and I didn't get it. Or Monica. Gina, go right ahead.
Hey, so, I don't even know how to follow everything that was already said. So much of what I was feeling in my heart was already expressed. But I do want to just actually honor both Les and Linda who were with me, and they said some things that really resonated with me. Linda talked about being or creating for others pockets of energy, and that just sounded so right in the moment. We need to create pockets of energy where things can happen, right? So I just love that. And then Les talked about, he just mentioned some words and they stuck with me. And I told him this, the word reconnection and the word absorption. Les, you need to hold up your book so everybody can see all of your little tags in there. So he's absorbing all sorts of Dr. Danny's stuff there, but the reconnection and absorption just really sat with me. So thank you both, Linda and Les.
That's awesome. Les, you're going to do really well on the written exam that we start with tomorrow. So,
yeah, we want to see Dion's book and Les's book. Hold them up at the same time.
Dion's got me.
We're going to assess who has more Post-its.
I still have a day left. So
that's right.
It's funny. Mine only has one Post-it. Does that mean I found the essence?
And
that's the summary version, right?
Whoa.
That is the summary.
The Cliff Notes.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm on
You're
Kindle.
So smart, John.
I don't have sticky notes. I'm beyond that.
I have it on Kindle too. We need to.
May I read something that?
Yes, please. And
really
Gina, thank you. And Les, go right ahead.
I had it bookmarked, so it seems relevant. I mean, it could be we could be here a while because I have a lot of things bookmarked, but in the space, it's on page 120 for those of you who really want to look at it. But I love where you describe emotion. Ooh, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get through it because it was like I started crying because I was after watching videos of you or of the description of this whole thing yesterday. But you talk about Darwin and you say the primary purpose of emotion is to ensure our survival and enhance nonverbal communication to bind us together for the benefit of our species. For example, and then you go into the description of disgust or fear and all these things, and there's this big 6 emotions that you discuss there. But what I love about this is something that I've never really even thought about, and it's probably the greatest proof I've ever heard of for the reason why we are not here just for ourselves. That there is nothing that we do that doesn't have, like I can't walk in this world unless I'm a hermit. And I'm not even sure if that's even possible, but where I'm not impacting others because my face is carrying with it some sort of communication. It's and I can't help but even go to the greater extent of even what you were saying about I am a freedland, and I've told Ezra this multiple times, and this is a lot of my intent even for this week. It is to be an I am, and there's nothing else after that for me. There's the story of in Exodus of Moses, and he has this moment, and I'm not going to go on a diatribe, but it's be quick, where there's a burning bush moment. He says, well, who am I supposed to say is sending me to deliver my people? And the words are often just glossed over because we hate to think of ourselves as that essence of God. But the word is, I am that I am. And the description there, when you think about it, what he's saying when he walks up to Pharaoh is he literally says, I am the one who is here to deliver my people. He doesn't say God sent me. He says, I am the one. The essence within me, the burning that is within me, recognizes that there is an injustice, that there is hurt, there is brokenness, that the thing that has torn us down in our world is happening to my people, and I'm here to deliver them. And as I'm reading this, that's all I can sense is this I am statement, that we are reconnecting, that we are breaking through. And I think exchange has brought that has created this space. And I've told John that this is what church was supposed to be, in my opinion, that it's this community that where we are experiencing that the vibrations of inspiration. And this for me is the platform by which it's connecting, and it is timely, and it is synchronistic with endeavors that I'm chasing after right now in the world of parenting. And I'm just so thankful for you, man. So grateful for your life, and I am one with you, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Gosh, we got all that off of one Post-it note. Les, I think we'd love to have a bonus session to get maybe 2 more of your Post-its. Thank you so much for sharing that, man. So great. I think back to I don't know if it was the day I met you, Les, but it was the day that we had a meaningful connection where I was walking out and you were walking in outside of a lobby of a hotel up in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. You weren't feeling well, and I convinced you to get into a van with me and to drive, an hour away to these cold springs. And then we got half naked and plunged
Yeah,
into the ice together.
I was going to say fully naked, but you ruined the story there. But it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was a great day.
Fun to have those memories.
Indeed.
Allison, please.
Oh, a lot of what I'm hearing in these shares is the sort of unapologetically spiritual conversation of leadership. And wow, am I so glad to be here. Feel like I'm in the right place. I've done, in 15 years of doing this leadership development work, I remember I was telling my group, I remember back in 2006, working with this firm that was working with John Mackey, and we were designing a conscious leadership program, and we're hesitating to call it conscious leadership because back then it was a woo-woo term. It was woo-woo, and we were afraid to use it. We finally did use it, and then convinced John Mackey to use it. And so, but I have struggled with that for 15 years, with being in the spiritual conversation with the leaders that I serve, and with hiding that part of me that is deeply, deeply spiritual, deeply, deeply connected to the earth, deeply, deeply connected to the Creator. And that I believe and I see that leadership is a spiritual endeavor. And I teach that in my own programs, but, it's just been quite a journey for me to come out of this closet. It's taken a lot of hard inner work for me to come out of the closet. And even to the point where I have, I got discouraged and I backed off from my leadership work. And I am now like, I'm, creating a sanctuary, a ministry with my husband because I got so discouraged about having the conversation in the leadership field. And I thought, well, I'll just go have it in the place where people want to have it, So Danny, thank you so much. And I feel truly blessed and humble to be invited here, and grateful for your work. Thank you.
Allison, thank you so much. So glad you're here. I think a lot of us love that phrase, an unapologetically spiritual conversation. Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Monica, Leah, Ezra, or Adair, or Jana? Ezra, go right ahead.
So the last few weeks have been pretty interesting, and Dr. Danny, you're beyond an inspiration about embracing the unknown. And it feels to me, it's been feeling to me for many months like I'm pregnant and that the world is going through a metamorphosis, this liminal space. And my new F word is fractal, as I've expressed multiple times. And the fractal, as I see it, is the little pieces of godliness in each of our souls, and we're all interconnected. And the frame that's been in my head, it comes from a quote in Psalms, which is talking about the Almighty creating the Olam Chesed Yibana. Chesed is translated in modern day terms as truth, or as love. And really, Chesed is translated as benevolence, graciousness, kindness, compassion. And so I think that the connection between that love and the graciousness, compassion, and empathy and generosity of spirit is Olam Chesed Yibana, is talking about how God created or runs the world. And I think it's a lesson for us in how to do it. And then the second quote that just pops into my head and links is Tzaddik be'emunasa yechya, that the righteous live with faith in the Almighty. And so when we're living with faith, we're embracing, and I heard you say this last week, embracing the field, and whatever it is, it's exactly perfect. And so if the world is created with kindness, generosity, love, and caring, compassion, etc., and that we're walking in faith with the field, with the Almighty, then this is exactly where we all need to be. And we have the opportunity, people were talking about stewardship, of literally embodying that lesson and living it forward, not carrying it forward, living it forward and nurturing in the world. So thank you.
Fractal is the new F word. On the count of 3, everybody unmute and say mother fractal. Ready? Everybody ready? Everybody unmute. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Mother
fractal!
My boys
I love it, Ezra.
Love it.
John,
Oh my
Dylan is thinking about doing merch for the channel. I actually think we've come up with a new T-shirt, a slogan that says "Mother Fractal." So
there you go. We're gonna. I have so many things I want to say right now. We all love a good fractal. Oh my gosh. We're gonna fractal the heck out of this training. Oh my gosh. This could be fun. We need to have breakout groups right now. All right. I want to just acknowledge time. We have 7 minutes left, and I really would love to hear each voice. So, Monica, Leah, Adair, Jana, intentions, please.
I'm happy to go.
Please.
I think my overarching highest purpose of being here, honestly, is just to witness Dr. Danny shine and really give his medicine forward. I shared in my group, but in going back through the book, the question that keeps coming to me is on page 77, you reference living your life on purpose. Would that allow us to be like to share our purpose? So if we're purposeful with our day, our moment by moment, will that allow like our purpose to just naturally come through? And I mean, you were born into this world, Dr. Danny, to share this
connection into the field, this conscious leadership. And I'm excited to see the ripple that comes after these next 3 days, but I'm mostly really excited to see you just jazzed up on all the energy that's going to be coursing through this experience. So I'm very excited. Thank you.
Awesome, Leah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Leah. Monica or Adair or Jana or Linda, go right ahead, please.
I can go. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Linda.
Go ahead, Monica.
Dr. Danny.
Linda, go ahead.
This is what I'm figuring out here as people are talking, and I had written a bunch of this, so we'll just see. In my screen, your sunflowers run into John's sunflowers. I don't know. I think are you two connected at the hip or something? So, right, the joy of the fractal and the sunflowers. When I watched the videos toward the beginning, Zach, your loving son, was talking about very early on. He goes, "I can't do this." He was very adamant about this. He was really serious that it was deep. He said, "I can't support this family. I'm too young. I just can't." My dad died around your age. And I realized when I saw that, I never had that thought, but now it's hit me. So I want to thank you for sharing your family. Because he went on. If you keep watching, he goes on. He makes this monumental, change, this pivot that it's unbelievable. It's really something for the world to hear about. Thank you for that inspiration. And I had already written down that I wanted to connect with like-minded to ignite your work to the world. But I have that, but I don't have to do it any longer with the like-minded, because now I'm going to look for other Friedland people. And we're going to do that together. And so in closing, I want to say, your humor has so kept me going that it's unbelievable. And the share, your smile, that 8-year-old, fun, light, lots of laughter. That's a big part of Exchange. And thank you. Thank you so much. Look forward to the week.
Linda, thank you so much. That's so great. Monica, go right ahead. Thank you, Linda.
I echo everything that's been shared thus far. And what I was saying in my little group is that what comes up for me is something that I feel has been consistently arising in my spirit. And whenever similar questions are asked, it's like the same response comes to me. And so much so that I'm like, I feel like I'm being repetitive. I should find something else to say. But it's authentic to me that what my highest intention is that I continue to be pushed out of my own cocoon. I'm very aware that I am very shy, that I'm introverted, or that these are identities that I'm working to shed. But these are stories that I'm breaking up right now, that I'm shy, that I'm introverted, that I don't have anything to say, that I need to know more, that I don't really belong. Who do I think I am? And the workshops that we've gone through thus far that I feel will be, will deepen this sense in me is that no, I do have something to say. I do belong. I have an impact that I'm here to make. And I need to get doing it. And that's my highest intention, is to really deepen the moving from the sphere of safety, recognizing that I am loved, that I do belong in all the places that I find myself and places yet to come, and pushing myself toward that level of significance where my life has been turned inside out in service to, humanity in the area, of my influence. So that's the highest intention for me. And I'm just hopeful that everyone who comes to the deep dive gets for them what's needed and wanted in their lives.
Thank you for sharing that, Monica. That's beautiful. So glad you're here. So glad you're here. We're going to finish with Jan. There's a few of us that didn't share, but we'll share our intention tomorrow morning in the huddle. Jan, it is good to see you. Jan, we have less than 60 seconds. And here's the question for you. In 60 seconds or less, what's an intention that you'd like to set and or share for the week? You could also share it tomorrow if you want to reflect on it overnight.
I will reflect. I'm filled with emotion for having missed this. So I'm pissed. I just wrote to Adair saying I'm really pissed that I missed this. And client called me away and I had to take it. And in reading over Dr. Danny's, the excerpt from the book today, I had shot him a note saying, I love the quote at the very end where he speaks of his intention to come from home and live from home. And ever since I walked into Exchange through a Zoom call, I've felt like it's been a homecoming, and this just seems like another opportunity to do that. As someone who struggled with depression due to a lot of self-doubt and self-doubt, terrible self-doubt, and being a high achiever, this work resonates with me. And so my intention is to spend some very contemplative time beforehand and to come in open and as self-loving as I am loving of others on this call.
Jan, that's beautiful. And wherever you were, the field needed you there. Now you're here. You'll be with us.
Okay.
It's always an honor to have you with us, Jan. The
Thank
spirit
you.
and the energy you bring is beautiful. So glad you're here. It is 4:15.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be here with each of you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Jan, on a later time, we'll send you the minutes from this meeting. We don't actually do that, but we just need you to know there is a new F word, which is fractal. So more on that later. All right.
I like it.
Yeah, I thought you would. Hey,
full
everybody.
Full fractal, or okay.
Mother fractals, fractal the heck out of that. We're gonna, yeah, we're gonna.
Okay,
yeah,
I want to know more.
Yeah. Hey, I want to honor the timing. Very important for us to end right now. Very important. So we have a huddle tomorrow morning, and the huddle tomorrow morning is from 9:50 Eastern. I realize that's pretty early for several of you, or maybe many of you. We have a picture that we need to draw for you in that huddle. It's a very important connection of dots. You've never seen that picture. That's how we get you to show up to the huddle. But we have something really special we're going to share with you tomorrow that has not been shared with this community. And tomorrow is going to be an extraordinary day. So in our check-in tomorrow morning, we'll share with you a little bit of the practical of the flow of the day and what you can do to contribute to that flow. You're going to notice literally just being yourselves, bringing these intentions in is the highest service. There's not anything technical or specific in terms of co-facilitation tomorrow. There is on day 2, but we'll tell you about that on that morning. If we told you that now, you'd forget by then. So, hey, everybody. These leadership team huddles for all of our deep dives and for all of our OXE trainings, they always have their own unique thumbprint, their own unique identity. However, any of you who've been on prior leadership teams might also feel what I'm feeling. They also feel like it's the same conversation that we're having every time. And that's beautiful. It's beautiful to be back with all of you. So we will see everybody tomorrow in the morning. I am Mitzi Rivas.
I am Mitzi Rivas.
I am Barbara Senrick.
I am Barbara Cedric.
This was so dang good.
Oh my gosh. Have a great night, everybody. Anybody have any
Bye.
anyone have any gangster
I'm
rap?
I'm just
Rap?
I'm a
Bye.
dead weight, which is really cool. Makes me feel good about myself. Makes me happy.
I am Dan Diamond.
Yes.